Yeah. I'm working on the phone list.
And Mr. Bond back there. Oh, you can hear us?
Got good pictures, so I need to
Yeah, you still need to, but show the pickup
Red book,
until I watch it back, I won't know how much she hurt.
It's even close to as sensitive as that last one.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Oh, you would too. You love it. Oh, I'm telling you.
I guess Cincinnati, St. Louis is 10. Well, I'm probably going to get some. I just like to get in the question.
The invitation is was I was over to get beat. That kicker was inside there, the one that guy. He kicked as good as he was kicking his
I just looked
54 yards, he had the distance, he could get the upright. Got outside. It's hard to get over to.
Oh, it's down.
Did you get the packet? Yes, I did.
Always like Green Lake.
Well, it's like Patty said, give it to you next time. Like, it just. I just said, what I'm going to do is rank them like in order. But there's some that's like the interviews.
Go ahead and
But I
call
kind of
the
put
meeting
those.
to order. Dr. Barnett is here to lead us in invocation. And Ms. Burgess, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for a nice day, beautiful day, Lord, and a lot of things happening in Ocean Springs this coming week. I pray that the cruising will be successful and people will be safe and enjoy it, the city will make good money, and all be well, Lord, at the end of the week. We pray your blessing upon tonight's proceedings. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that all aldermen are present, no absence. This time we've got some certificates to present and a proclamation.
We thought it'd be nice to, anybody who's in business right now knows how valuable employees are and how hard it is to find and keep good employees. So what we're going to start doing is recognizing some of our most valuable people, the people who really get out there and make the city run and do the heavy lifting for us. And we're going to start doing it by years of service, starting with 5, 10, 15, 20, and so forth, 25. So I'm going to go ahead and announce your name. If you'll come up and receive your certificate, and then just stay, we'll get a group picture. We've got a famous artist in our midst tonight. And I got to say, he's doing one heck of a job with that tree down on the beach. And we want to recognize Lloyd Helverston for 20 years of dedication to the city of Ocean Springs.
Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Want
Lord.
to say a few words? Want to say a few words?
Yeah. I've been here 20 years, and every day I work here, I love it. It's going to be sad for me to leave when I do decide to go. I'm going to miss all the good people that lives in this town. And most of all is watching the young ones come up. If you can teach the young employees to do what the older ones have learned, there's no great accomplishment in this world. And I enjoy working with these younger kids. I get frustrated sometimes, but sometimes it's worth trying to get something that I know there. They just got to want to do it. But thank y'all for this. I really appreciate it.
Our next certificate is going to Ms. Donna Stas. 15 years dedication to the city of Ocean Springs.
Not able to come today.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Next recipient for a certificate of appreciation is Ryan Heath, 15 years. And the next certificate is for William Hatton, 5 years. This month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we have a proclamation in the city of Ocean Springs. Whereas the city of Ocean Springs shares critical concern for victims of domestic violence and a desire to support their needs for justice and healing, and whereas domestic violence affects both men and women of every race, religion, culture, and status, people in poverty and those of affluence alike. It affects 1.3 million women per year, with an incident occurring every 18 seconds. As many as 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have been physically assaulted by a partner at some point in their lives. And whereas the crime of domestic violence violates dignity, security, privacy, safety, and members of our community in the form of physical, emotional, sexual, and economic abuse. And whereas intimate partner violence costs us in excess of $5.8 billion nationally each year, $4.1 billion of which is for direct medical and mental health services, and has an economic impact of lost productivity amounting to $1.8 billion for American businesses. And whereas in 2020, the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence provided emergency shelter and support services for 1,384 victims of domestic violence and received 11,700 calls to its crisis hotline, reflecting the severity of this problem within the lower 6 counties of Mississippi. And whereas advocates, professionals, volunteers, and community members concerned with domestic violence will devote the month of October to raising public awareness of the crisis of domestic abuse, its causes, effects, interventions, and prevention. Now, therefore, I, Kenny Holloway, Mayor of the City of Ocean Springs, in recognition thereof, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
I just want to say thank you. You know, every year we take this opportunity in the month of October to kind of come before all of our cities and counties and remind everybody in the community that we are here. There's been a lot, if you watch the news, there's been a lot of cases, some very severe cases of domestic violence that ended very badly, and something that we fight all through the year. We are here. The Center for Nonviolence is here, and it is available, just like the numbers that you mentioned. We had over 11,000 calls last year. That's typical. And that's in 6 counties. So this is an issue that affects everybody, men and women, all across the coast, and we're always here. But we can't, the center can't, you know, letting people that you know, if you know somebody that's dealing with this, helping them get those resources, pointing them toward us. You don't have to know what to say, just give them our number and we can take it from there. But we want to make sure that you know that we're here, we're always going to be here. So we appreciate it. I will mention, we just received word about a week and a half ago that because of some federal allocations, our center lost $700,000 in funding as of October 1. Because we have been here for 44 years and because of the way that we are able to do things, we are going to be able to withstand that hit. We're not going to have to shut down. Some shelters in the state of Mississippi are not as lucky. We will continue to be here, but community support for our center is more important than it's ever been. So we appreciate the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, brings us.
Real quick, we need to turn all the mics off and only one at a time needs to be on. That's the only way it's going to work tonight. Somebody reset the mics.
Yeah, so in making the audio better, I made it worse.
Not necessarily. Just kind of, you have to go with a computer to reset
So
it.
red is working.
But everybody just turn it off real quick.
Yeah, you should just turn on one at a time as you're speaking. So you need to keep yours on. Everybody needs to.
Okay. Okay, public hearing. Need a motion to open public hearing.
Mayor, before we do that, I need to make a motion to accept the agenda and the addendum.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we need a motion. I've got a motion by Mr. Hempy, second by Mr. Aldermen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Okay, so public hearing to adopt resolution FY 2021-2022 Uniform Assessment Schedule.
Make a motion to go into public hearing.
Okay, motion by Mr. Cox. Second by Mr. Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any, Carolyn, do you want to?
It's not, it's just routine. Last meeting, we set this public hearing. It just has to be done. It's a formality. So if there's anybody to speak for or against it, and then typically there's not.
Is there anyone to speak for or against the uniform assessment schedule? Need a motion to close public hearing? Motion by Mr. Cox.
Second
by Mr. Aldermen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, public comment section.
Make a motion to adopt the resolution of the FY 2021-22 Uniform Assessment Schedule.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hempy, second by Mr. Aldermen. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we'll get this thing going here. This time at the meeting, we have public comment on any agenda item. If you have a comment that you would like to make only on the items listed on the agenda, you may come forward and do so now. You'll have 30 minutes to make your comment with a total of 30 minutes. Would anybody like to make a public comment? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Alex.
Please come forward to the mic, please.
Oh, okay. Would you mic this one? Okay. This is my first town meeting ever, so I don't really know what the narrative has been on the crepe myrtles. This is 7C. I do have a background in landscape design, and just one of the things that I really notice is how stressed the trees look. So again, I don't know what the narrative is. and where the point of discussion is headed. But I just know crepe myrtles to require a lot of investment in terms of time and pruning to get them to look the way that people want them to look. I also am familiar with the work of Dr. Gary Bachman, who is an Ocean Springs resident, and discovered the crepe myrtle bark scale in 2015, which means it was here probably at least 5 years before that. So as a long-term investment for the community, I think maybe having a discussion about moving away from crepe myrtles is something that is going to pay off in the long term as the outbreak of the bark scale gets more rooted in our community. And in addition to the water stress and the heat stress down here, the crepe myrtles continue to face further disease pressure. I would advocate, of course, for resilience and sustainability purposes, choosing in landscape applications native species. Dwarf magnolias are a great street tree, a great median tree. There's a lot of other options, but that's about all I wanted to say.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
I'm Alex.
Alex.
Ali, A-L-I.
E-I?
Yeah, like the boxer.
Okay, and your last name?
Ali, A-L-I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
First name Alex. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment on the agenda item? Okay.
Hang on. How y'all doing tonight? My name's Andrew Barstow. I'm the grass company that takes care of the median out here in 90, police department, fire department, dog park. I received an email the other day that y'all weren't very happy with my service. There's a lot of opinions about the way things look in there. So here tonight, I brought some facts with me that y'all are more than welcome to look up. Normally in South Mississippi, we get 60 to 70 inches of rain a year. That's usually our yearly total. We have 100 inches now, and we still have 3 months left, and we're just now coming into the rainy season. On top of that, the drainage on 90 is non-existent at this point. That water doesn't flow. It sits there. I haven't got to mow down there one time this year where the entire median has been dry. Anytime that it's all been done, it's because we've been out there weed eating it for an extra day or two to get it finished. I brought pictures of all that. Another issue I have in the median is wrecks, car wrecks. There's all kinds of car wrecks down there. They don't clean out the ruts. The car debris is left, bumpers, and I have to haul them off, and that's a big ordeal, to have to do that. They knock trees over, they leave them in the median, and that's not a part of my contract, is to clean up behind the car wrecks, I don't believe. If it is, tell me now, because I'm here to work with y'all. I don't want to lose my contract. Is it?
This is, in this part of the agenda is just for you to comment. The board just takes your comments under advisement.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Would y'all like seeing these pictures of the drainage that I have?
You can leave.
Maybe some of the issues that are going on right now. I also want to bring up, I've been mowing this down here for y'all for 2 years, and I appreciate the work, man. I love working for y'all. It's easy, it's nice, it works out great. And I want to continue to work for y'all for several more years at this point.
I tell you what, why don't we do this? We're going to discuss this later on in the agenda,
okay,
and then we can look at your pictures at that point.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment concerning the agenda items? Okay, we're going to move around the agenda a little bit. We're going to go to old business. We have an alderman that requested to leave early, so what we're going to do now is go to old business, and then we'll come back to we're going to go to new business and then come back to old business. We've been doing a lot of research downtown on various items, and we're talking with the police department. There seems to be a safety issue with lighting. So we have asked Mississippi Power to give us a quote on some changing the lighting downtown to brighten it up a little bit. Combination of the type of lighting we have and then the trees that have grown into those lights has caused it very hard to see up and down the road. So Mississippi Power presented two options for us, and you have those in your agenda packet. One of them is they're both brighter lights. One of them is a flat light that's like the one on the beach, and the other package is a more of a decorative type light that would kind of match what's going on downtown right now with the lighting, but they both would give us a lot more light. So obviously there's a difference in price. Alderman Altamont, you want to comment on that since that's your ward?
I would like to stay with the decorative lights that we already have in the downtown to, to keep the aesthetics the way it is. I mean, it is true if you're downtown, you can't even see people walking out between cars. Anybody that's in between cars, you just don't know what's going on. So I would like to see us move towards the new light.
I agree in staying with the decorative style lights because we're only changing the taller lights. The lower lights would remain the same, and these would at least match what we have down there instead of putting the Cobra headlights downtown.
You want to put those decorative lights up high on the pole?
They're already there.
That's what's coming down because there's no light coming from.
These
You gonna pay?
These are newer lights with their bright.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
We have
still gonna have your lower lights there.
We have someone from Mississippi Power here that they'd like to address the type of lighting we're going to put up there. Please come forward. Robert, you have something?
And I should have picked this up earlier, and I apologize, I didn't. I'm a little uncomfortable with this conversation because we have ongoing litigation involving an incident downtown where the allegations against the city and Mississippi Power deal with lighting. So I'm not sure. And I know you start off with some people, not necessarily the city, some people think there may be a safety issue. We don't necessarily believe that, but I just want to put that out there. I am.
What's your recommendation? Table it?
My recommendation would be to table this and we can discuss it in an executive session in the future and maybe I can set some parameters on that, on what the discussion should be. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah. Okay.
You got a lawsuit.
You want to make a motion that we table this?
I'll make a motion to table the light downtown.
Now, I should have picked that up a little gentleman.
Motion by Mr. Altamont.
Second.
Second by Ms. Burgess. All in favor? Okay. Discussion hiring mayor's front office personnel, Mr. Altamont.
I think you gave me all the information that we were discussing it, and we already moving into that direction to have somebody in the front office from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So I don't really have much more to discuss about it.
Thank you.
Are we going forward with this?
To my knowledge.
Yes, we are. We're in the process of finalizing the job description and we'll be advertising here in the next month or so. Okay, now we'll get to the grass cutting discussion. So if you want to come back up to the podium, Mr. Impey, you wanted on this on the agenda, so you want to start here?
Yes, sir. I know I questioned our public works director about it, and I know there's been various reasons why. And I understand the rainfall, I get that, but with all due respect, even when the grass has been cut, it looks like the mower's going 100 miles an hour because you've still got stuff sticking up where it's been mowed. It's not being mowed the way it should be. I crossed into Gaucher the other day on the way to Lowe's, and I understand it's a little different grass, a little different situation, but it was night and day when I crossed 57. If I didn't live here, I'd have known I was in a different area just by the way the grass was cut and the crepe myrtle were trimmed. I mean, to me, I go down that highway and I see stuff that's been run over, and whether it be paper, cups, or whatever that's been run over as you mow. I mean, to me, if it needs to be said, then I'll say it. It needs to be picked up. I mean, to me, that's just an incomplete job when you're mowing everything in front of you, whether it's trash or whatever, and it just doesn't look good. And it's not good at all.
Okay, so there's several things that you said there that are night to day, as you said. One thing is y'all's median in the widest spot is 18 feet. Gaucher's is 30 across there.
Right.
The bottom of their ditch is 5 feet, the same as yours is, of course. So they're not going to have as much grass coming up the side. The crepe myrtles they do have are less than a third the size of the crepe myrtles that you have. They're big and bushy. We trimmed them different this year. Remember, we started to cut them the way that they'd always been cut. Then an arborist came in and said, y'all got to cut them like this. So we cut them different. We did it that way. And now they don't look like people are used to them looking. So that's, I mean, I can go back to cut them the other way. However y'all want to decide to do that. I cut the shoots off the bottom. Every time I mow, I string trim them. The big shoots, they get taken off in February. If you want me to take everything off more times throughout the year, like we can do that. I can do that twice a year and still be cheaper than the next lowest bidder on doing it once. And I also seen something in the email about like you get what you pay for. And that's not always the case. Everything I have is paid off. The only overhead I have is gas and my labor, of course. So that's how I can keep my prices down. I don't have a lot of overhead, and I don't bid jobs to do subpar work. That's never the case. When I come in, I plan to do things correctly, which I have. Last year, there were 0 complaints about my mowing on Highway 90. It looked amazing all year long. I mowed it at 2.5 inches. Every time I mowed last year, I busted a windshield. Every time I mowed, there were about 17 windshields last year. Talked to Alan. I said, Alan, I need to start mowing higher, or I'm going to go out of business. They're going to cancel my insurance. I need to start mowing about 5 inches. He said, okay, let's do it. That's what we've been doing. So it's not the beautiful manicured look. If we need to adjust that a little more to suit everybody's needs, I have no problem doing that. When we do mow, we mow. We mow everything all at once. Me and my brother mow. We got a guy behind us weed eating. The next day we come through in a little buggy and pick up all the trash that's left behind. That's how we've done it since day one because I only have 3 people that work for me. That's the way that we do it. I had a personnel issue in the spring. That's been resolved. I dropped several of my larger contracts so that I could focus on the ones that are important to me with the men that I do have and keep them up to par. Like I was said earlier, one of the really big issues, man, is the car wrecks and the people run over the trees and the trees in the medians and the ruts where people cut through the medians. That's a huge ordeal. Here's these pictures I got. I was going to try to send them on an email, I think. Let's see.
I'll get them when you're finished.
Okay.
All the pictures.
Okay. But, man, some of that water down there right now is almost 30 inches deep in that median. I mean, I know it rained yesterday. It rained 3.7 inches, I think, down here.
Mr. Andrew, I think what we're attempting, Mr. Andrew?
Yes, sir.
Ken Papania. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
And I apologize, I can't remember your last name. I remember.
Barstow, sir, Barstow.
Ms. Barstow?
Yes, sir.
What we're trying to do there, and Ms. Tempe hit on a good point, it is like night and day between us and Goche. And I understand what you're saying, the topography and things of that nature. But we want it to look seamless between us and Goche. And I think you'll agree if you drive 90, you can go to Lowe's or Goche, wherever you're going. Anyway, it is like night and day. And of course, I'll back up and say, what can we do to make our Highway 90 look similar to Goche's, if not better?
The biggest thing we can do is get some drainage in 90. There's no drainage out there. And the longer that water sits in the bottom, the more it rises up the sides, and that's that much less than I'm able to mow the next time I come down here. So where I used to, like last year when it was raining, I could mow the bottoms, no problem, with regular air tires. I've bought airless tires for my mowers this year. They have 75% more ground surface than the air tires do. That way I can mow lower, but I still can't get in the bottoms. I mean, my mowers weigh 1,500 pounds, and I don't know what to do until we can do something with some drainage.
Oh, okay. Gonna finish?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, our objective is to make it look decent, and as we all said, and I think you'll agree, it does not.
No, it doesn't look the best right now.
It does not.
No.
And that's where we want to go with this thing. And we may decide to go out for bids, and you're welcome to bid at it.
I understand, that's
Bid
fine.
for it.
Like I said, I just want everybody to understand that it's not from a lack of effort on my part or anything like that, or lack of anything, man. It's just the big deal is the drainage. That's a really serious issue, and I believe you all got a request out to MDOT to be able to clean the ditch out yourself because they haven't been able to come do it. So like you already know it's an issue.
Gotcha.
But what do y'all expect me to do until that time? What do you want me to do? Because I'm here to work with you.
Okay.
Even today, you still have the best looking section of Highway 90 from here to Bay St. Louis, and it's been that way since I started mowing. I know it's a little off right now, and like I said, it has a lot to do with the water and the accidents. There's been way more accidents this year than there was last year, too.
I do want to point out, because you guys probably won't remember this, when this got bid out,
he was actually about $1,000 a mowing cheaper than anyone else. I really feel like he's underbid himself to some extent. So $1,000 every 2 weeks is quite significant. I just want to let you guys know that.
Yeah, and he's right about the ditches. If you've gone down Highway 90 today, this morning in front of Winn-Dixie, the water was in the service roads coming out of those ditches. So, and we are addressing that with MDOT. I mean, I can't tell you when that problem will be corrected, but I guess as much weed eating as you can do through the balance of your contract when it's high like that is what we need. And I know you got a tough situation with that. I mean, it has been bad.
It's definitely a fight with the
anyway,
water.
just to kind of everybody knows that it doesn't look to the standards that we want it to look. You know that, we know that. So I think at this point we just need to work together to try to get it to.
And that's why I'm here, because I want it to continue to be the best section of Highway 90 as it was last year. And like I said, whatever we got to do to get to that point, if y'all want me to start weed eating the bottoms, I will. I mean, it'll take me an extra day, but if that's what I have to do, I mean, I'm okay with that. I've opened my schedule up quite a bit so that I can spend more time on contracts.
What will help it dry out would be if we do go back to cutting it shorter. Leaving it long like that, I mean, if we wanted a bush hog, that's what we'd put the contract out for, because when you're finished, it looks like a bush hog. It really does. It's not cutting it clean, and in 10 years, it's the worst I've seen it look. Last year was probably the best I've seen it look.
And that was
when you got the contract the first year. And I thought, man, this is great. This year we have dropped the ball, and I understand the rain, but you know what? We got to get the grass cut. When it is raining, at least, and maybe the concrete is ours, Alan. Maybe that falls on us. But the edging is not being done. It's not being weed-eated along the concrete edge. Maybe down here by the bridge, but out on 57, if you look at that corner, you can't even see the curve.
Okay.
It's not clean, it's not edged. It needs to be edged, it needs to be cut shorter. And you said you trim those twigs every time that you cut the grass?
With the string trimmer. And that one doesn't, and the string trimmer doesn't cut every one of them every time. No,
because I've been watching it for a while here, probably 2 months now, and they haven't been cut.
Have you been out through here recently?
In spots, but in spots they're not cut. You said you cut them off. You didn't.
I do cut off the small shoots on the bottom. Now, I don't go through and trim them with the hedge trimmer. That's a February thing. Like I said, that's how it's written.
That's the top.
It's the big.
I'm talking about the little twigs on the bottom.
Okay, like I said, we'll do it different. However y'all want me to do it. And maybe 3.5, I could start cutting maybe 3.5. Would that be all right? 3? That way maybe I won't be busting.
Definitely needs to be shorter where your mower will cut it neat, because right now you're bush hogging it and it's not getting cut neat.
Okay, like I said, I'm down here to
He's bought some different mowers too. He bought some rear shoot mowers instead of just kind of blow out the side.
That's going to help him. Was fantastic.
That's going to help him with the windshield.
And we need to get back to last year. And I understand the rain is a problem, but I know of 2 areas right now out by Chevron at Parktown East. You had a window there where they had dried up for about 2 weeks, but we didn't get them cut. So they haven't been cut in quite a while. I mean, you need to take the sidearm out there and cut them down, because he can't cut them with that lawnmower now at all. It's that tall.
By the Chevron? Is that
the Chevron
right there? By Walmart?
Water
right
there. The water's all the way across 90.
But as it dried out, you had a very short window, and we didn't get it cut. So I don't know, but we've got to do better, because it really does look tacky. And we've got festivals going on. We've got cruisers coming in town. They're cruising from Biloxi to Goche this past weekend and looked at ours going over there, and it really, we wanted it looking nice. So we got to tighten up.
That's fine. I understand, no problem. Like I said, I'll start mowing a little lower. When I can't mow, we'll have to start weeding from this point until we can do something with the drainage. I'll go through and cut all the shoots off when I do my next cycle. I'll be back down in 2 weeks. And the litter as well, man, as soon as we get done mowing, you can go and do our litter. You can go back through there and there's already trash back out there. I mean, it's thrown out there fast. You can see it in the ditches and the median on both sides of the road. I mean, there's a lot of trash out there, and they will throw it out directly behind me. It's not a problem.
And the car wrecks and the crepe myrtles getting run over, that's on us. We gotta pick those up and get them dug out now. And that's the ones that are laid over should not be on the grass cutter.
Chief Dunson, the record services that go out, that we call to come out and pick these cars up, we need to talk to them about picking up these additional parts.
They are required.
Yeah, I mean, we need to make sure that they do.
I was just talking about the crepe myrtles, they get run over.
Yeah, there's
And
several of them
right now, we've got
laid
4 or
down.
5 laid
There's probably
down.
5 down there right now in the median that have been ran over just in the last month.
Okay.
I got the majority. I got almost all the car parts out. I think there's a bumper down there, but I didn't have any way to haul it. I was like, I didn't have my truck out there, so.
Alderman Impey, you have anything else?
No, I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot if, but, it's, as I said, the water's not everything, because you can look 6 inches off the shoulder, and after you've cut, there's weeds sticking up. So I don't know if your blade's dull, or you're going 100 miles an hour with the mower, or what.
It's the alligator grass that you see sticking up, and it's from where I'm cutting at a higher height that doesn't cut it clean. And sometimes it just strips the alligator grass and it sticks back up. So like I said, I'm gonna start cutting lower and see if we can get more towards what we were back here.
Did you say you were going to do that on your next cycle?
On my next cycle, we're gonna trim every shoot off the bottom of every
In
tree.
2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I guess there's no way to come out sooner.
That'll be before Peter Anderson, I think.
It'll be the week
It will be.
Yeah.
I mean, I can come back out next week and do another cycle if that's how y'all want me to do it.
I think as long as it's before Peter Anderson, we'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay, I think we all know where we need to go with this, unless there's anything that anybody's left out, we'll just move on.
Okay, all right, thank you, gentlemen, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to old business. We have an addendum on old business, as to authorize the mayor to request Jackson County adjust the MOU on the monster ditch. The MOU on the monster ditch was for $250,000. The engineering estimate came in at $272,000. So we're asking to adjust that with the county to $272,000 and also extend the contract completion date to December 31st.
You just need a motion.
Just need a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Impey. Any discussion? I'm sorry, Mr. Papania, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll handle that tomorrow. We have a couple of updates, and the first one will go with Mary C. Sarah's here to talk a little bit about what she's been doing down there.
Hey everybody. Is this on?
Yep.
It's on? I didn't turn it.
Yeah.
She probably turned it on.
Speak up.
There you go. Hey guys. So I'm here today to give you guys a 6-month progress report on the Mary C. Things are going pretty great. We opened in June. We now have just under 30 partners and collaborators that we work with daily. They are who bring our events and performances and classes to the Mary C. We could not be what we are today without them. We have a few people that are not on this list right now. Oh wait, there's not the list. Oh, there it is. That are huge collaborators with us, such as the Chamber of Ocean Springs. They are who we are working with right now on several events coming up, and they've just been really great. But all of these people on this list are creative entrepreneurs. They are putting a branch of their studio into the Mary C. That includes some of their equipment. We're all working together to create somewhat of a maker space so that our classes can extend into studio time rentals for students who are engaged and want to use the equipment outside of classes. So I just put the first few pages of our class roster for the fall. Our summer roster, we had 30 classes. This is our fall roster. We have 61 classes available. We have 12 categories within our roster. You can kind of view over the first few pages. Our roster is actually 14 pages long. So the first few pages kind of gives you the list with the ages and the dates and the prices. And then the final pages after that kind of gives you, and it's just the last page of the roster that I have up here on this presentation, gives you some details of what you'll be getting and what you'll be seeing in the class. So it's just extra detail from there. You can register for these classes on our wonderful new website, the maryc.art. it's pretty amazing. We're figuring it all out. It's the way we do all of our payments right now for the most part, unless it's being paid by check. Something's being paid by check. But we are kind of like working with our partners to make sure that it's as easy as possible. Our city folk, they've got our back, and anytime anything looks weird, they give us a call and we try and fix it pretty immediately. So it's all very new, so if you have any opinions about that, you guys just let me know. Then the next is our upcoming big event, Spooky Springs at the Scary Sea. This is going to be super fun. It's quite a collaborative effort. We have a lot going on. We have a haunted house on the inside. That's the first hallway, the first downstairs hallway. The lobby will be separate and have separate activities in there. Dressed in their best costume. There's going to be a graveyard reenactment going on with different famous people from Mississippi, whether they are artists or musicians or authors or what have you. It's October 30th. It starts at 6 p.m. at the Mary C. All the festivities for that day. All the festivities for that day start earlier in the day, downtown with the businesses, and then we have the Witches Ride at 5, and then it all kind of comes down to the Mary C. And it ends at 8. So you guys definitely come. It's going to be amazing.
You have to wear costumes.
Yes. I don't want to know who you are. So I just wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about engagement. So we've created a Facebook and Instagram. We do plan on creating a TikTok. We've made our website. Everything's doing pretty great. We have 1.3 thousand page likes. It's reached over 20,000 people. Some extra tidbits. So our Spooky Springs flyer reached over 5,000 people when we launched it. So I think people are engaged and excited about what's happening at the Mary C now. The second best engagement that we've had on Facebook is a reflection of our summer classes. So I think that's really going to help our fall classes. And then the third was our museums and gallery posts. So they're definitely like becoming popular. We have some really great shows in the galleries right now. In the local creatives gallery, we have Show Me What You Got, and it's 10 of our local creatives. They're showing, between 3 and 5 pieces each. Very different mediums, just really great eclectic grouping. And then in the Duckett Gallery, we have Concept to Costume, 2 ladies who have volunteered their time for 30 years for our coastal theaters, who have come together and created costumes for different productions. We're highlighting their work. We have a process room. It's pretty incredible. It was a collaboration between the Walter Anderson Theater Project, the curator of the Duckett Gallery, Pat Pinson, and myself. And it's very immersive. It's a little different than what you guys are used to seeing, but it's up through the end of the year. And then in the local creatives gallery, we're changing it over to fit our Halloween theme, and we're going to be showing Alan Williams and Christian Bailey. They have very dark, wicked art that's incredible, and I think you'll really love it. Our rentals and our classes are going really well. We have 9 upcoming rentals. I have prices and how much money we've made and all that stuff, but we don't have to go into all that right now. Just know we're making money. We're doing well. Things are flowing really well. And what that does is really gives opportunities to our partners. And as long as they are invested and it's worth it to them, then it's worth it to us. So that's our main priority. So let's see. We have some upcoming events. So in October we have, the OS Rotary Club, the 5K, and then we have a concert, the Mushroom Brotherhood Band, which is an Allman Brother cover band. They're pretty amazing. Then of course we have Spooky Springs, and then in November we have Dia de los Muertos, which is our Firefly, and it's themed in the Day of the Dead. And then of course we have our Christmas tree lighting in December. And our fall semester for classes ends December 13th. So we will start up our spring semester, and in that we are starting an after-school art program. Lots of people have been asking about that. We've been trying to kind of figure out our new demographic and who we're trying to reach, and we got a lot about baby boomers this last semester, and so we provided a lot of classes for baby boomers. So definitely check out our roster. It's not only for kids. Okay, I'm gonna move on to communication. So just to let you all know, I've created an advisory board to help me with these development projects that are coming along. Pat Pinson, Cynthia Sutton, Julian Rankin, Anthony Starcher, Nancy Wilson, plus a guest. You guys are always welcome to be that plus one if you would like. They are all invested in the Mary C in one way or another. Pat Pinson, she's been a curator of the Duckett Gallery for over 12 years and knows the history of the place very well, so she's very good to have in my pocket, as well as we work together in the galleries curating. Cynthia is a partner to the Mary C through the Chamber. We have the Community Live Show. We are constantly promoting what is going on at the Mary C and in our community. She's wonderful. Julian Rankin, he's the director of the Walter Anderson Museum. We do have a consulting contract with him, and he's from Jackson like I am. We've known each other way back, and he's very good at development, and he's definitely a cool person and is connecting with people, and we definitely want to be friends and learn from him. So Anthony Starcher, he is the president of the Walter Anderson Theater Group, and he's also the head of the Rising Stars Youth Program. That's a big program that we're really trying to push at the Mary C. It's got comedy and acting and singing and dance and style and makeup, and it's just going to be really wonderful. We've kind of started off with a few programs over the summer, the Rock You 2 and Hooray for Hollywood, and they were really a hit, and it was pretty amazing watching those kids from day 1 to day 5 and just what he could pull out of them. I think he's somebody who focuses on the kids, and that's really important because we can all be business minded and kind of, get off track in that way, or just, be all about the artist like I am. So he's going to reel me back in and remember how kids communicate and function and what they need. So, and then Nancy Wilson, she was always on the board of the Mary C in the past. I believe she was also the director at one point, and she's been very supportive, and I'm happy to have her on board. So beyond that, I feel like that's going to be very helpful. We're going to meet once a quarter, but beyond that, I've started meeting with the city clerk, Patty, and the mayor, Kenny, twice a month to do check-ins for the Mary C projects that are going on, and I think that that's been incredibly helpful. Learning to communicate to everyone has been the biggest hurdle that I've had, and I am a pretty good communicator, maybe too much sometimes, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and I think that it's very much helped progress. So, and then if you want to, so we have several projects going on right now that I'm very excited about. Been touching up the interior of the museum, and we're about to start putting a digital communications project out, which is basically screens instead of just, paper advertisement everywhere. We're going to do digital screens and be able to show at each classroom what goes on in there, what is coming up. It will have a calendar, it will have images, it will have advertisement for other things that are going on in our partners' careers. I think overall it's just going to be a really great forward move. The expansion of the History Museum, that's happening upstairs. Pat Pinson and I are pulling a plan together. The advisory board is going to help with that. That's going to be an intense project, but we have so many artifacts that nobody sees in our vault, and they deserve a moment to be expanded out into the building. And what we're going to do is do almost like a timeline for Ocean Springs upstairs. So downstairs will be very modern and about selling and displaying art. And then upstairs, it's as if you walked into another era and you can explore the history of Ocean Springs. And then we have our digital fabrication program. Got word on where we're at with that and how we can expand and where we can move depending on, all these other people who are taking up bits and pieces of the surrounding buildings. So I've got a plan for that. We were working with Engraving Hub, and he has several laser cutters and 3D modeling programs and a lab, a computer lab. So I think that that's going to be a wonderful program to be brought, a design program to be brought to the Mary C. And that's going to be part of our makerspace. The gift shop, it's in progress. We're figuring it out. We gotta make sure we're keeping things safe, and we're kind of testing some different ideas out one step at a time. But we currently do have art for sale at the Mary C. in our local creatives gallery. We have a courtyard enclosure project and a precious plastics project. Those are two huge projects that are not going to happen overnight, but they are very exciting. I'm working with Carolyn Martin with the planning department. We've sent over some plans for the courtyard enclosure. She's getting it approved by the state. The guy that is going to be building it, let me get his name real quick, Vincent from Saltwater Fabrication, he has offered to do this at cost. It will be made out of aluminum. These will be cut out stencils. They'll very much go with the aesthetic of the sculpture piece. It will only be an accent to the building. It will not be something that takes from the building if all goes well through the state. I've met with ABC to make sure that we are in regulation of distance from the school behind us, and he actually simplified a few things for us, so it's only tightening up and getting better. The Precious Plastics project is our final development project that I'm working on with Chevron. It is basically a series of equipment that our community will be able to bring their plastics, and we will process them. They will actually process them themselves. It will be a self-processing system where the end product is plastic sheets, extrusions, materials for us to use in our classes and in the city. So if, say, the mayor calls and says, hey, we need a park bench in Marshall Park, we can make one through this program at the Mary C. So that's just an idea of how that would work. But that's pretty much all I have for right now. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you for working with me and supporting these development projects. We're very excited, and we're thinking them through, and we're taking our time and doing it right.
Miss Sarah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is excellent.
Are we done?
Is
that a thank you? Goodbye?
No, thank you very, and I do appreciate, we do appreciate this openness and presenting it to us. This is a breath of fresh air, and it gives us some guidance on where you're going with it. And I use this statement, and some people hammered me in the past in the campaign, but the Mary C is going to be bigger and better, and you're making it bigger and better. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just want to add to that. I know it's got off to a little bit of a slow start, but you're at a dead run now. And one of my goals for the Mary C was to see it utilized to its maximum capacity, and you're rapidly approaching that. I'm really impressed with what you've done. Do you sleep? I don't know how you find time to sleep with everything going on up there, but I appreciate your efforts. It's awesome. Every day when I turn Facebook on, there's new posts from the Mary C.
Well, we do have a pretty amazing admin assistant as well, so she is like my right hand.
Well, I can't hardly share the stuff on my page fast enough, but where something new pops up, and y'all are doing a great job. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank you also, Sarah, and I want to encourage everybody to go take the classes. I've only taken one of the cooking classes because I'm not a very good cook. I really signed up to go eat what everybody else does. But no, the cooking classes are a lot of fun, and we had a blast, me and Lori, and I think everybody here would too.
And we always have comment cards at the end, so we want to continue to learn about what people want and how their experience was, and train our partners to kind of fit the aesthetic and the essence of what we're trying to bring with Mary C. So.
Great job.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'm just kidding. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sarah.
I think you've done a great job, Sarah. I'm very impressed. I'm so shocked how far we've come. How quickly she's managed to move this along, and working with her. And, she's had a lot to learn with government, but she listens well. And she and I drive Kenny crazy every 2 weeks at 2.
It's gotten better. I'm glad. And we are doing some exterior cleanup over there that I think y'all will notice here in the next couple of weeks. Trying to get it spruced up, hopefully by the Spooky Springs event, and definitely by Christmas time. So we're gonna do some much needed maintenance cleaning outside. Yes. So anyway, thank you, Sarah. And you went over your 10 minutes. Chick, 10 minutes. All right, next item on the agenda is a Cruising the Coast update. We got some beautiful weather coming up this week, and we're expecting some very large crowds. And Chick and his crew at Cynthia have been doing a lot of work, so I have them here to let us know what to expect this weekend.
Couldn't do it without Cynthia. I tell you, she does a real good job with our entertainment and everything else that we do. We work very well together with the city. This little lady here helps too a lot, and I appreciate that. And so does Al. So we have everybody, and so do all of you. And we couldn't do it without the team. Alan, Police Department, Fire Department, Public Works. Mindy keeps me straight on what I can and can't do. Anybody in this room, the doctor, James, helps me keep my holes out of the road back there sometimes, drainage. But listen, it's a team effort, and it's an enjoyable one. I really enjoy it. Today we've had, for example, almost 8,700 cars registered. That's more than we've ever had. They will top 9,000 in just a few days. We've got 3 countries registered: Canada, Mexico, and Australia. We've got cars from those countries here. Our big event will be Friday night, and please come to that. That's going to be something that we've never had before, quite this big. Friday night starting at 4:30 and goes to 10. I don't know that we'll be finished. We'll be finished by 10, but I don't know if all the people will be out there by 10, but that's what we're hoping for. We have Nana Shah, we have Tip Tops, and Departure. Departure is the cover band or tribute band for Journey. If you like Journey, you will love this group, because I really think they're better than Journey. So the tenor that sings is certainly better, I think. But that's just me now. I'm old. But the main thing is this. This event brings about between $26 and $30 million of coast. About 6 to 8 million of that comes to Ocean Springs with the tax off of that. Now, what does that mean? Well, the businesses that we have downtown have a lag there about January, February, March, and this helps them make it through. Of course, Peter Anderson's right behind Cruising, so it comes up, and it's the other thing. Those 2 events really propel Ocean Springs ahead. And I have to say this, Cruising is the largest in North America of its kind. Peter Anderson is the largest in the region, in this whole area. So that didn't happen by accident. Everybody sitting at the board there had a big part of that. And listen, that legacy will go on long after I'm gone and Cynthia's gone, and most of us. It's something that is just in Ocean Springs. And it's true. We've become the event city. But you know what? We make people want to come back to Ocean Springs. And I tell you the thing about Ocean Springs that really grabs you is today I was at the Chamber of Commerce, and a guy told me from Georgia, he says, I want to come here because I like it here. I feel at home here. When somebody tells you that means that you've done a good job in promoting Ocean Springs. A guy called me from Alabama. He's got 2 cars that are coming, 2 trucks, I'm sorry, C10s. One of them is worth $300,000, and the other one's worth $120,000. Now, I didn't dare ask him how much the paint costs on that because I don't want to scratch it. But I can tell you one thing. I told him, I said, when you come here, we will make you feel so comfortable and so welcome that you won't want to go anywhere else cruising. I'll showcase it. And let me tell you something. Not only that, but we got a Cadillac that's coming that's unbelievable. And we got several surprises. Got several stars that are coming. People that do iron restoration. Him and his wife are coming. They were here last year. We have two of the prettiest ladies in show business coming. They'll be there at the t-shirt place. And Ricky helps me with this. And so does Bobby when he's here. And when he's able to be here, because he has to work. But listen, we start at 4 o'clock in the morning, Thursday morning, and we will work until that night, till we get everything done, whatever time that is. And then we start again next day, Friday, and we go to about 11, 12 o'clock that night, and then we do the same thing on Saturday. This Saturday will be the largest turnout we've ever had in Ocean Springs. So just hoping and praying that we've done our homework, prepared well, and I'm sure we have. But the only thing I ask y'all to do is this. When you get a chance, take a few pictures so you'll remember how much effort went into this. This is something that is just not one person, it's all of us. We are good representatives because of what we do. When the mayor was elected, the first thing he said was, "You're not going anywhere. You're gonna stay here and help me with this." And I appreciated that. It meant a lot to me. But you know what means more to me than anything? Is when I see somebody that's a total stranger and they come up to me and say, "Chick, don't change anything. It's perfect the way it is." Now that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because they see something they like. Most of them want to move here. In fact, we lost our lot to on Applebee's over there to Doug White, who happens to live in Jackson and owns Capital Motors up there. And I stayed after him for 6 years to come down here because his wife liked it so much. And I said, "Well, I'll find you a piece of property." He promised to come. He called me up one day and he said, "Fine." I found 7 of them. And I finally got that one over there. And I called Applewhite and talked to him. He said, "Yeah." He bought 2 lots over there. The house is almost finished. If you get a chance, go look at it. But listen, we moved this thing, the whole thing staged down to Chamber of Commerce. I think it's going to be a good move. Anyway, I'll be disappointed if I don't see all of you there. We worked very hard to make the best. Ocean Springs is the largest venue and the most requested one. When they say which is my favorite, they fill out the blank. Ocean Springs is number 1. That didn't happen by accident.
Thank you, Chick. Thanks,
Thanks, Chick.
Thanks,
Chick. Okay, next item on the agenda is discuss adopting ordinance amending the Ocean Springs Code of Ordinances zoning and subdivisions, Chapter 14, Article 1, Section 14-43 regarding prohibited actions. Alderman Papania.
Of course, this amendment's in your packet. We've discussed it at the last meeting. And I'm going to make the motion, and if there's any discussion, we'll go forward. But I'll make the motion that we amend an amendment to the Ocean Springs Code of Ordinances, zoning and subdivisions to amend Chapter 14, Article 1, Section 14-43 regarding generally prohibited actions for related purposes.
Second.
A motion by Alderman Papania, second by Alderman Hempy. Any discussion?
I did have one question I had, Ken, and it was simple. It was, I probably won't be able to find where I was reading it, but it was discussing commercial vehicles, but in the definition it had any person or business would not be allowed to park downtown for over 12 hours, I think. So like if somebody went and participated a little too much downtown and got an Uber ride and they left their car there overnight, I want to make sure that's not going to be an issue.
That was something I had added or asked to add to the ordinance. And mainly what that is for is delivery vehicles, construction vehicles.
And if that's the case, that's fine, but in the definition, it made it sound like anybody plus
No,
commercial.
It's just commercial. We understand that people need to take Ubers at times, and we don't want to put anybody in a position to drive when they're not supposed to.
Well, I did too, but then when I read here, I took it. Yeah, any person or business, and that's what, maybe the any person might be taken.
I read it as commercial vehicles. I'm open to. That's E, if y'all are looking for it.
It's
dealing with I read it as commercial.
But, and that's fine if everybody sees it that way.
That was certainly the intent.
Okay.
So I think it's our interpretation could be.
No problem then.
Okay, any further discussion? We need a roll call on this one. Ms. Burgess?
Kenny, before you do that, I don't know about the timing of when you want this to go into effect. We had this on other motions, that there needs to be a separate finding or included in your motion if you want it to go into effect immediately.
Can I sidelight off that motion and say effective immediately?
Yes, sir.
Okay, effective immediately.
It poses a danger to the public in general, and this will help promote public safety. Those terms, you'll add that to it, and you're good.
For public safety, this ordinance will go into effect immediately.
Yes, sir.
Robert, question, isn't that based on whether or not it's unanimous?
If it's not unanimous, it's correct.
That's correct. All right, just making sure. Okay, so are we roll
We're
call?
ready for it, yeah.
Okay, so aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have six ayes.
Rob's not here.
God, it has to be everyone in 30 days. It's going to be 30 days.
Okay,
Rob's not
that's
here.
fine. We have.
We can work with it. That'll be fine.
That's good.
Okay, all in favor with 6 and 1 absence. Okay, discuss the purchase of bollards and trash cans for Front Beach and adopt a resolution to use 2% funds to make the purchase. This also includes some bollards in downtown on Cash Alley.
We discussed that last time, that it was gonna be a split cost between us and FEMA for some of it. And so I put some pictures out just so y'all could get an idea on the bollard, and of course the red target ball. I know we probably don't want red, but I thought y'all would enjoy seeing it. This is what the bollards at this point would be. And there's actually this bollard, Kenny had told me, and I didn't realize it, I took pictures today, that this one almost exact to this is behind the brick welcome thing on the corner. There's 2 of them back there. They look like they're kind of a sandstone color.
Is that sand or is that?
Well, they look about like these. I don't know what color this is.
I know you
I know we're having
colors, I'm thinking.
The trash can will not, if you want them all to match, this different kind of color here doesn't come in the bollards. This was just the style of trash can we were thinking about. We wanted one that the lid couldn't blow off and easy for the guys to remove. And so we're looking at 18 trash cans, 63 bollards, and 4 balls.
Well,
so Ricky liked to vote on the color, and they're making fun of him, but
I'd just like to see everybody's opinion on it.
We can.
What are the
I mean,
color
I think
options?
the bollards on the beach, you can go with like the charcoal gray to match.
I told him Bobby would go with charcoal.
Or-
And I think you
but
said
the-
charcoal's black.
The target ball, you don't want to do the charcoal because you want to be able to see it at night. You don't want
Well, that's
to
true.
turn it into.
Well, I can't order until someone makes that decision. That's the point to this conversation. Because it's going to take 8 weeks.
Would y'all feel comfortable if Alderman Alderman and I made that color decision tomorrow morning?
Please.
Before we order.
Fine with that?
Be happy with whatever.
I'm not sure
Go
about
red,
that.
I get it.
Uniform. And business.
We'll probably defer to some of the ladies in the building. So, okay, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that I make a motion that we move forward, purchasing the bollards and trash cans for Front Beach and adopt the resolution using 2% funds to make the purchase.
Have a motion by Alderman Altamont.
Second.
Second by Ms. Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll get those ordered tomorrow. Discuss mitigations of 6 sewer lift stations damaged by Hurricane Zeta. Patty,
Yes.
City Clerk.
I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to look. I had Mindy pull it because Matt had given me all of these are the ones that he says that handled 11-foot tidal surge. I gave you all a listing last time, and that explained which ones are involved in Nate, so we didn't need to discuss them. I didn't realize until Mindy was helping me figure them out this afternoon that the ones that we're actually talking about, there's 4 of them at the Eagle House. In case anybody needs to know. Pump Station 60 is on Halstead, south of the bridge. And then Pump Station 37 and 65 are the other 2, and they're up in Gulf Island National Seashore. So we will be on the phone with FEMA tomorrow, and they will be asking me, do we want to mitigate? And I don't want to commit unless we are serious about mitigating, which could possibly mean 18 to 20 foot in the air. Is that correct, James? By the time we do it all?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're all comfortable with
I don't
that.
see no way getting around it. Unless we're just gonna continue to handle the burden of the repair costs after every storm, because they're gonna.
And they don't really want us to do that. I mean, they are really pushing, they don't want to keep having repetitious. I mean, they're really like, anything you can make better, we want you to bring it to the table.
But you know, when they raised the ones of the I guess it was the transformers and stuff at the harbor, with the transformers, you know, at first I thought they were really, you know, gonna be bad and ugly looking, but now I don't even realize they're even there.
You don't notice them. Yeah. And we can't do that because we have to have a different type of staircase. Wasn't that right, James? We can't. We have to have it where the meter readers can see it or something.
We can do the internal staircase and make it basically a square rather than having the platform with the stairway down to it. We could do it the other way. I don't know what the cost difference in all could be, but it's possible to put that staircase, make it internal to the structure.
That does look a lot better.
Well, I don't know that we can change Nate because Nate.
Change Nate.
Yeah,
That's
I
already
don't think
good.
we can change Nate, but we can, I would have to, tomorrow we will tell them what we are interested, if that's what you guys want to do, in mitigating these 4. And then they'll tell me to get an engineer's recommendation. And the way it would work is, even when we mitigate it, the Nate stations at this point are supposed to, and we've already spent our money or already budgeted it. The city's cost was going to be $66,000. FEMA's cost is like $527,000. I don't know if these cost more, but we would be doing 20% of it, however that would fall on the next ones. But tomorrow we will move forward if that's what you all are comfortable with.
And we removed pump station.
Yes, sir. We removed it from Nate.
21 is removed.
I haven't officially
East Beach.
removed it through FEMA, but it's been removed by the board.
Did we come up with another way to deal
We're
with that
working
one?
on that. About 21.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we have some ideas of what we can do with it.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Mayor? Oh, we did, yeah.
He
He said, he was asking about 21.
Do we have ideas on what we can do to be a little more
East Beach.
on East Beach?
East Beach is local, Mayor.
They're looking into running that one up the hill, and we've talked to the neighbor over there, and he's okay with that, where we take and put the wiring underground. We bring it up the hill and then mount it on a smaller platform there.
So the lift station stays where it is?
The lift station stays where it
And
is.
then the wiring is where?
The wiring. But, you really can't elevate that one because it's so close to the streets there. It'll give it a traffic hazard. You wouldn't be able to see cars turning and coming down to East Beach. So that's the the thinking there, and if not, then that one will not be mitigated. We will just have to, disconnect it when the storm comes in advance.
I have a question. I'm seeing, did you say 4?
Right, so Matt Burrell had gave me this list, so I assumed he was just giving me Zeta and Nate, but Davis Bayou, Minnie and I looked today, that did not flood during Zeta, so I think Matt was just telling me that one is vulnerable to the 11-foot surge.
45, so 45's off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was counting 5, I was like,
Well, I didn't understand it either. I had told you it was Zeta, but we confirmed today it was not. The other one that was on here runs a bathroom up in the trail.
right.
And I don't know, that's about $80,000 for one bathroom up in there. I mean, most people don't even know that bathroom's there, because we went, I'll ask them tomorrow about that one, and we'll see. But you don't have to make a motion. You telling me you're willing to move forward, we'll move forward.
You're still gonna reach out to Gulf Islands to see if they're willing to share in the cost?
I would like to meet with whoever the new person is, Bobby. We just need to get that name, and yes, we need to start collecting some funds on taking care of that, and I think we can.
Okay. Any further discussion? Thank you, Patty. I need a motion to pull item P from this, for discussion on the consent agenda.
Did we do the addendum?
Second.
Did we do old business on the addendum?
We did it. Yeah, we did that.
So we do the.
We did the addendum. Yeah.
I didn't have a copy of it, so I didn't know if there was something else on there besides.
So who made the motion?
I did.
That was motion by Alderman Cox, second by
Is that
Alderman
for
Hannah.
the entire consent agenda except for P?
Yeah, no, we're pulling,
No, we're
motion
pulling-
to pull
we're
P
pulling P.
from the consent agenda. Okay.
Okay.
And we don't really need a motion.
Yeah, normally it's just added to
Just added, okay,
consent
we'll just pull
except
it
for
then.
P.
Okay, we need a motion to accept the consent agenda without item P.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Alderman Cox, second by Alderman Tanya. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're pulling item P. Patty, you want to explain what happened there?
Yeah. Since I was out gallivanting around for a few days, it appears that one of the bid packets, because they all come in and they all say the city clerk. So I don't know who got it, who they handed it to, but it got put in my office. So when I returned Monday morning, I had a packet that did not get put with all the other engineering packets to be reviewed for future projects. So I called Carolyn and Kenny and said, this was in my office, I'm not really sure, but they all say to the city clerk, and it just got mistakenly laid in there.
And that's important because in the memo, we listed all the ones we received, but we did not have that one listed because I did not have that one in my office at the time. So that's just the clarification to document that it was received in time, it just didn't get put with the rest of them.
We're just adding them to the list for them to review.
Okay, then we need a motion to authorize establishment of a selection committee to manage the process, recommend award projects for special engineering consulting services, and the engineering firms listed.
With the addition of Overstreet would be the.
With the addition of Overstreet.
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion by.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Burgess, second by Mr. Pena. Any discussion? You okay?
Well, and also, I guess they're confused. It's establishing the people that are on the committee too, so concurring with them as listed both.
That didn't change.
Yeah, that didn't change.
Okay.
So that does two things, establishes and documents who we receive. Is that the question?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Department reports, motion to approve the claims docket.
I'll make a motion to approve the docket of claims with the mayor. All expenditures are appropriate and authorized by law and spread the summary upon the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Impey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to accept the monthly budget report.
Motion by Mr. Impey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Aldermen. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
Continue here. I'll make a motion to adopt the municipal compliance questionnaire and spread the summary supplement.
Motion by Mr. Impey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Papania. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a motion to adopt a resolution for emergency repairs to Hofstede Road water well.
That can either be Alan or it could be James if he understands too. It's just something else that had to happen at Hofstede to continue moving that well forward. If you don't have any questions, one of those gentlemen can probably explain a little more. That came up right at the last minute.
What is having to be done?
We gotta buy new pumps for the well. We had the liner put in. With the new liner, the OD of the old pumps is too big to slide into the newer casing. So we gotta buy a pump that'll fit the case.
Is that by the tennis courts there?
Yeah. With this being done, that station will be almost 100% new.
This is the second emergency one we've had on that.
Yeah.
You know, once they're in there working, there's really nothing to do but just to go on with it.
Repair what's needed.
Yeah, we can't see what's in the ground till they get down
Are
there.
those pumps bad, or are you just replacing them with the smaller?
Replacing them with a smaller pump.
And then those pumps can be used on the other.
I think they'll fit the well, other well.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution for emergency repairs to the Hofstede Road water well.
Motion by Mr. Impey, second by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is general public comment. Anybody?
We need to also, make a motion to replace that first page of item 9C with the correct information. We had a conflict from the first page of the agenda that listed that the sale of that old fire truck at $12,000 and it was actually $11,000. So I'll make that motion to replace that first page.
Motion by Mr. Impey, second by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. General public comment. Anybody wishing to address the board on any item of interest, you can do so now. You'll have 3 minutes each, or a maximum of 30 minutes. Anyone in the room that would like to address the board on any business-related item for the city? Okay. Alderman's Forum. Ms. Burgess.
Yeah. Chief McCoy. Hey, so the email that I sent you in regards to the patrol setups, did you get that?
I haven't seen it.
Sorry, I'm looking right past you.
I was gonna say, I don't do a whole lot of patrolling.
I'm sorry.
God, I'll have you know I forwarded that to Chief McCoy and he has done nothing.
Yeah.
Yes, I got it. I passed it on to our office.
Okay, all right, thanks. Sorry about that. I was staring right at him too. Okay, and Carolyn, I am seeing the speed testing. So
Yes,
that's
yes,
awesome.
the tubes.
Thank you.
And they've had a couple of times that the tubes have gotten water in them and damaged, so you might see them reappear.
Yeah,
So,
a couple of them, so
yeah.
they're coming out again.
Cool.
So I did ask you, just as a matter of record, so the water's back on.
Yep.
And we're gonna advise residents on Hastings and surrounding areas that if their water was turned off, they are to boil their water for the next 3 days.
At least 3 days.
To be safe, absolutely. Okay, so
Did you
we're gonna-
clarify the reason for that break?
Reason with the break is the contractor hit the existing water.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
contractor
it was
grant.
part of that project, but we're aware of it.
And this went out, I sent it on Code Red to everybody in that surrounding area. It was like 250 people. But I didn't specify 3 days, so I'll make sure that gets out.
Yeah, and it was put on the Fort Bryan Estates.
Takes 48 hours for the test.
Yeah, that's what slows it down, is
Gotcha.
getting the test results.
Yeah, the test results, gotcha. On Bristol and Diller, can we get some, no parking on the median? Those signs are, especially the one on Diller, you can't see it. And we've had a
No
couple of
parking.
contractors park on there. We've got built, the irrigation system. So if we can maybe either get a slightly bigger ones or just move them and make them a little bit more prevalent, that would be awesome.
Bristol, you talking about in the median right there by
Bristol
close to the
doesn't
highway?
have any,
Yeah.
surprisingly enough. And the ones on Diller need to be bigger and more visible, if possible. Or more visible, but you can move them
Right.
or just make them bigger if you can. And I'll add that to my spreadsheet. Let's see, the issue on Londonderry and the issue on Churchill. Can we get a resolution or next steps?
We need to talk to that lady and see if we can go through her yard to get in there.
Okay, because I think you were gonna go out there today or yesterday.
We tried to get out there, but we didn't. We went and looked. Me and Stephen did. I
Okay.
think coming in through that yard from behind.
On Churchill, you mean?
Yeah. it's
Yeah,
gonna
'cause
be
that's
the
a pretty
easiest.
good shot. Okay, yeah, if we can get some sort of next steps established by the end of the week, that would be great, because I do need to communicate that to them. The sidewalk repair list that I submitted, Megan and Alan, where does that go from here?
I usually give it to Tanya and Candace to input into their system.
Okay.
And we kind of went over it last week, but that was when they got rained out, and I think I had to tell everybody that. So I'll get with them again tomorrow and kind of see where it's at.
Okay, so we broke that into repairs, gaps, and then no access. Okay, and then the asphalt list, that's, so just so I'm correct, the first and third Wednesdays of every month are gonna be asphalt repairs, correct? So I've received a report for the 28th, but I have not received one for tomorrow.
They did just bring in that public works system also.
Okay.
So I can get in that and look.
Okay, yeah, I just wanna make sure we're on a schedule and that, that's communicated. And that's all I got.
I guess the question, I don't know who, I guess Mindy or Alan, where are we on the amount of money that we spent fixing all this stuff that the underground board people have damaged throughout the city?
I'm not exactly sure.
Who's been keeping a tally of that?
Candace has been tallying it up.
And then are we waiting for when to start trying to collect this money?
Guess we better wait till they're finished.
When are they gonna finish? I don't know if they ever finish.
Well, you know, they never came to City Hall and told us they were gonna do anything. They just started the process. And, we have a contact with C-Spire, and the guy's been, real helpful. But finding contact with AT&T is almost impossible.
I just would be curious to know where we are dollar amount up to date, and
One
as far as
point-
the sidewalks in
At one
Morpall,
point, we were over $50,000.
and then like the sidewalks in Morpall, we're gonna have to end up pouring those and charging those back to them too?
I would think so.
So we have a contract with both of them that was signed a couple years ago, I guess. And I can send it to the attorneys and see that I'm sure that's addressed in there somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money to be out there, I mean, I
'Cause I think it was-
understand waiting, but
I was gonna say, I think it was like a 6 or a 10-year contract that any time within those years, they had permission from us to come in and do the work.
right, I understand that, and we have to acknowledge that part of it, but the damages, we're paying out of pocket, and at some point, we're gonna have to start turning this stuff in and not wait until the end,
Well, and at least if we could get some sort of timeline, some sort of, estimated time when it's gonna be finished.
Yeah, well, let's get those contracts to Robert, and let's see what the damages and collection and so forth, and some mistakes.
And I only have one other thing, so I guess paving is done for right now for this week on 90, do y'all know? They said it was suspended?
I think they've, it looks like to me they've got that
right
northbound, turn lane north from Winn-Dixie to Washington is the only thing they have left to
Right,
do.
but they're not gonna be doing that.
No, they're not doing that.
So I guess my question to you, Alan, is tomorrow y'all gonna put the A-frame signs sitting in the median? I know last time there was some, mess up on that part. We really need those. And I guess we are gonna do the barricades, so.
You know, with all the, you know, the horror stories about that pavement, I'd have to say MDOT did a real good job getting in and out of there and then getting out of the way for cruises. So,
Yeah, they did.
They did a great job.
Just a quick thing on 272 Oldham, I forgot to tell you, the north side of that ditch, I guess it goes about 2 foot, maybe 3 foot out. I think that's where that thing is collapsed at. I'm not 100% sure.
272?
Yeah. You may not have to tear that whole thing out.
The property owner also said that you don't mind if you open that ditch back to
Yeah,
that.
I mean, if you
Yeah, we
bring it
threw the
back
truck
that
in it the
far.
other day and it only go halfway through his driveway. You have hitting something solid. I was afraid it would come through the concrete.
Well, I come trying to push south, and I couldn't put something through there because the whole ground was moving, so something's collapsed.
Yep. It'd
But
be
that's
easier
it.
to replace the whole thing.
Yeah.
Daryl, I've got a few complaints on the pod and trailers parked on Porter Avenue. People leaving church Sunday, and they almost got T-bone there because they can't see around the pod or that trailer.
I actually called that person today. He's trying to get the pod moved. We done it mostly because of cruising. The 2 guys that have the trailers there have agreed to move them and not leave them there. But I have spoken with you.
Yeah, that's where the cruiser will be turning, right there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, exactly. Another thing, after going to the rib crib the other night, we were talking to the owner there and said one of the problems they have there is the lighting at that entrance. And that's been an issue on and off for whoever's been in that restaurant and that entrance into the subdivision, just so dark. I'd like to make a motion that we get with Singing River Power and look at changing the heads out on those decorative poles to the LED lights, so that it'll light that entrance way up. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Do you want to make a motion, or you want us to go ahead and gather the information and present it?
Well,
for a
the motion will be to gather the information and bring it back from Singing River Power.
Okay.
I second it.
Motion
What is
by,
it? The lighting.
okay, there's a motion to upgrade the lighting on the entrance of that subdivision by the
Trentwood.
Riv Crib.
I mean, Lakeview.
Oh, okay.
Lakeview.
Lakeview. A motion by Mr. Cox, and a second by Mr. Empey. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Carolyn, can we get an update on Stillman Lane?
We have, it's still in the counties. We've given the plans to them, and my understanding, last time I talked to Joe, which was probably a couple weeks ago, is they had some catch basins or something that was on back order. I mean, they expected it within 2 weeks at the time that I talked to them. So it was going to be scheduled as soon as they had all the
Have
materials.
you heard anything else from him?
Yeah, but they did go in and clean it, and it is at least in a better condition than it was, so it's usable, but really only for Woody's as far as deliveries and things like that. But yeah, as soon as they get their materials, he said he'd get it scheduled.
We
but
try
it's
to
a
dress it
material.
up at least once a week.
Yeah.
Government Street sidewalk, I know Rob's not here to ask you about that, but I'm ready to hear about that. Let's get that.
We did make some headway with getting the first part closed out. It's just, there's been some legal issues that I've been going back and forth with the engineer and MDOT and getting all the sign-offs that we need. I did find out today that we may have to do some work to the Hawk signal to bring it into compliance, but I don't have a full report on that. So that, yeah, everything was chugging along until about 3:30 this afternoon when I got that phone call. So I'll be able to come back, but it's just been one thing after another with trying to get the submittals and the material sign off, which is hard on a good project, a project that's gone smoothly. It's hard to get through this phase, but I really thought we were at the home stretch until this one little thing.
Who sent that on the Hawk signal?
Well, what had happened, and I don't have enough information to really say, but there's some buttons or a component of it that was not done properly. And I've got to get down to where the ball was dropped. I don't know.
Paid an awful lot of money to an engineering firm to put
Yes.
that Hawk system in.
Like I said, and that's a conversation I'll have to have with them and then bring back a report. So I'm looking into that. Once my understanding after talking to MDOT today is that's the last sign off I need before we can close it. And once that's closed, then I can get a number assigned for phase 2. But we've done the preliminary engineering pretty much for most of phase 2. So as soon as we get that number, we should be able to move towards the field review and all the official things to get that going.
Okay.
So.
Street signs on 90, Ocean Springs Road, Fort Bio Estates, all the newest signs that we bought.
You mean the white ones?
Are all faded out,
Yeah.
and you can't even read the.
Yeah.
So where are we at with those?
That's MDOT. I mean, as far as I know.
You meet at Amy.
I know we passed that off to MDOT. I mentioned it to Kelly, and I think you'd mentioned it to Kelly Castleberry.
I think the mayor talked to him about it too.
But they're signs, yeah.
To MDOT about that. I'm gonna follow up with them as we get tomorrow on that and the highway 90 drainage.
Okay. The last thing was last meeting, I made a motion to let you go out and find out about the foam repair on sidewalks. Do we have any info on that yet?
Yeah, Alan is going to identify the sidewalks that need the foam, and they were in here this morning, and we had a meeting with them, and as soon as we identify the areas that we want them to repair, then they will go out and survey them and come back with an estimate on cost to fix it. They gave us an estimate on the cost to fix the handicap ramp at Fort Marapaugh, and so probably the next board meeting, we'll vote on doing that.
You, when you want to start walking now?
I got a truck.
You'll walk.
I drive a Dodge, I ain't got a walk.
My motion was Government Street and Ocean Springs Road.
Yeah.
And we discussed that last department head meeting.
I'll get the list up. When you want me to meet with them? Like Monday, Tuesday next week?
Yep, and I think what we need to do is, as y'all identify them, just hit them with a little spray paint can of
I'll start marking them this week.
yellow or orange or whatever, so they can go back and see what we're talking
Pretty
about.
easy down Government Street, where there's a
Every other
grade.
one.
But that's all I've got.
I don't have anything, Mayor. I won't be here at our next board meeting. I'll miss the next board meeting.
We'll miss you.
Thank you.
I've already told Alan, thank you, but I want to just publicly say the guy that did the concrete work, replaced a couple of panels in Woodland subdivision. He did a fantastic job. We still got a few to go. And Stephen, thank you for Bobby did replace that tree out in Trentwood.
Good.
It's a beautiful tree. That thing's about 10 feet tall. It's a nice live oak. It just so happened right after you did it, the Trentwood Homeowners Association had one of their annual meetings, and they met under the pavilion. I invited the lady with the Girl Scouts to come out, and for those of y'all that saw their presentation not too long ago, their fundraising has met the goal on phase 1, and they're going to be ordering the first of the equipment that for that park, in the little plaque in honor of Sophia Meyer to go next to the oak tree. But it'll be the full the A-frame swing set with the rubber, the standard rubber swings, the infant, the ADA accessible, the parent child swing. It's going to be a nice setup with the border and everything. So that I've already got the concrete water fountain on the way. So the Girl Scouts, they are continuing to press on with their fundraising and efforts. So she came out with me Saturday, and I filled everybody in on what we're doing out in that area, and the Girl Scouts as well. And everybody was really excited with what they've done and what they're going to continue to do. So Stephen, I appreciate it. A great time on the tree just a few days before that meeting, so everybody got to see it. And everybody was very appreciative of it. But that's all I've got there.
Okay, very informative meeting. My costume for the Scary Sea is going to be circus ringmaster, and I've already got it picked out.
There you go.
Appropriate for the job. And I expect the rest of you guys and ladies to come dressed up also.
I'll be a bunch of clowns.
Anyway, Robert, do you have anything?
No comment necessary.
I've actually got a whole lot.
Well, then, we'll accept the motion.
Make a motion to recess.
Second. Motion by Mr. Hughley, second by Mr. Wade, all in favor?
Aye.
That's easy.
But there are.
Say that.